50. That is the exact number of gallons sitting inside the average household water heater right now. And if the outer shell of that tank happens to split open, well, all 50 of those gallons are going to reach your floor in roughly 8 minutes. Let that sink in for a second. Literally just 8 minutes to empty entirely into your home.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're adopting a super urgent, triage-oriented mindset to tackle a disastrous scenario that's just hiding in almost every home. We're talking about a sudden water heater leak. We're going to break down the absolutely critical 3 steps for sudden leaks that you need to take in the first 5 minutes of a rupture. Plus, we'll look at how to actually diagnose the severity of the leak and, of course, how to stop it from happening in the first place. Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture it. Nobody ever really checks on their water heater, right? It asks for absolutely nothing. It just faithfully heats your morning shower for a decade straight. But then, you walk into the hallway or the garage one morning, and suddenly your sock gets wet. Yep, it's that dreaded wet spot near the tank. Your peaceful morning is totally ruined, and you literally have no idea whether you're looking at a $40 part replacement or a catastrophic multi-$1,000 failure. But whatever it is, you have to act immediately. So to stop the bleeding, you need a fast, commanding action plan. And according to the source material, there are 3 critical steps for sudden leaks that you've got to perform right this second. Step 1, kill the power or the gas. Step 2, close the cold water supply. And step 3, clear the floor and dry the area. These 3 steps should take you roughly 30 seconds to pull off, and they are absolutely vital to stopping the damage from spreading while you sort out the root cause. Let's look at exactly how to do this. Step 1 is all about safety and preventing secondary destruction to the appliance itself. If you've got an electric unit, you need to sprint to your electrical panel and flip the double pole breaker labeled water heater. Got a gas unit? Just turn the dial on the control valve to off or pilot. Now, why is this so urgent? Because homeowners who skip this step end up burning out their electric heating elements in about 90 seconds flat once the water level drops below them. And on the gas side, having a burner firing right next to standing water opens up a whole different category of immediate danger. So cut the power source first. All right, now for step 2. You have to stop that infinite supply of new water from pushing into the tank. Look for the shutoff valve sitting on the cold water pipe that enters the top of the heater. If it's a traditional gate valve, turn it clockwise. If it's a ball valve, it just needs a simple quarter turn. But listen closely to this warning because it's a big one. Plenty of these valves have completely seized up after years of sitting untouched. If it refuses to move, do not force it. Seriously, forcing a corroded gate valve will snap the stem clean off, making your emergency 100 times worse. If it's stuck, just immediately walk out to your main shutoff and close down the water to the entire house instead. Okay, so the power and water are off. That brings us to step 3. Move the boxes, the paint cans, the laundry baskets, get them all the way from the area. Then use a wet vac or just grab some towels to clean up all that standing water. Getting the floor completely dry actually serves a massive purpose beyond just damage control. You see, a dry floor allows you to see exactly where fresh water is starting to drip from. And knowing that exact origin point, that's the key to your entire diagnosis. Oh, and one more thing. Before you clean anything up, take photos. Insurance adjusters always ask for them, and a photo carries way more weight than you just trying to describe the mess 3 days later.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it can instantly relieve a lot of that initial panic. The bleeding is stopped, so let's take a collective breath here. Diagnosing the leak is actually pretty straightforward. Our sources explain that top leaks and bottom leaks are entirely different beasts. If you see water coming from the top, like loose connections, dielectric unions, or faulty valves, you are totally in luck. 9 times out of 10, a leak at the top is a fast, super cheap repair. But if you have a bottom leak, where water is just pooling underneath the tank body with nothing dripping from above, honestly, it's game over. That means the thin glass lining inside the steel tank has cracked. Raw steel has rusted right through, and a pinhole has formed. There is no patch, no weld, and no magic sealant that's going to fix this. The whole unit has to be replaced.
Let's look a bit closer at a very common culprit for those top leaks, the T and P valve. That stands for temperature and pressure relief valve. It's that brass fitting you'll see on the top or upper side of the tank, usually with a pipe aimed right at the floor. Guys, this is a crucial safety mechanism designed to literally dump water if the tank's internal temperature crosses 210 degrees Fahrenheit or if the pressure spikes over 150 psi. So if you see water dripping from here, it means one of 2 things. Either the valve has simply worn out and needs a cheap replacement, or your tank is genuinely running overheated and overpressured. And that second scenario, that is an incredibly dangerous situation that needs same-day professional attention before you get a catastrophic rupture.
So what actually causes a tank to fail in the first place? Let's break down the hidden killers. First up, thermal expansion. This works on the hot and cold nipples during every single heating cycle, which slowly causes threads to back off and loosen over time. Second, those plastic drain valves at the bottom, they often just warp under constant heat. Third, and this is the most destructive one, minerals naturally settle at the bottom of the tank, forming a thick, rock-hard crust. This crust literally traps heat against the raw steel where the burner sits, practically cooking the lining from underneath. And finally, high city water pressure. The sources note that some city areas run water pressure north of 90 psi. Without an expansion tank, your water heater's shelf flexes on every single heating cycle. When you combine that high-pressure flexing with a crusty, overheated floor, well, a standard 12-year appliance will easily be destroyed by year 7.
Now we really need to rapidly transition into the hidden safety dangers of a failing water heater. 140. That is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit that many manufacturers actually ship their units set to. If your heater ruptures and starts spraying 140-degree water, you've got an immediate scalding hazard on your hands. Just to put that into perspective, at 140 degrees, a child's skin will suffer severe burns in under 5 seconds.
But the danger goes way beyond just hot water. Gas heaters bring severe combustion hazards into the mix. Water sitting around a gas burner chamber really disrupts the flame pattern and the draft head. And a disrupted draft isn't going to send exhaust safely up the flue. Instead, it pushes deadly carbon monoxide backward, right into your living space. Meanwhile, electric heaters introduce a massive shock risk. Wet heating elements, a drenched junction box, or a puddle slowly creeping toward an electrical receptacle, those are immediate life-threatening emergencies.
And this brilliantly illustrates the terrifying, rapid secondary damage that starts almost instantly. Your subfloors, they begin swelling. The drywall basically acts like a giant sponge, wicking moisture straight upward from the base plates. And because these tanks are usually tucked away in dark closets with zero airflow, mold gets a solid foothold within an astonishing 24 to 48 hours. The source actually warns that a single upstairs tank rupture can take out a bedroom floor, destroy the kitchen ceiling below it, and completely ruin 400 square feet of insulation in a single afternoon. That's why drying the space with fans instantly is just as absolutely crucial as fixing the leak itself.
Okay, take a breath. So how do we stop all of this from happening? Let's shift gears into proactive prevention mode. The standard life cycle and maintenance timeline is actually really straightforward. Once a year, you need to flush the tank to get rid of that dangerous mineral crust we talked about and test the relief valve by lifting the lever just to ensure it snaps shut cleanly. Every 3 to 5 years, you absolutely must swap out the anode rod, and generally speaking, you should expect an 8 to 12-year lifespan before needing a full replacement. Now that yearly flush, it literally only takes 20 minutes. You just took a garden hose up to the drain valve and run a few gallons out into the driveway until the water runs clear. Yet, practically every single homeowner skips it.
But let's focus in on the most vital piece of maintenance here, the anode rod. The anode is essentially a sacrificial piece of metal hanging inside your tank. It is literally designed to be eaten alive by corrosion, so that the corrosion leaves your actual steel tank alone. But once that rod completely dissolves down to just a bare wire, the corrosion immediately turns its attack directly onto the tank itself. Replacing the rod only costs between $40 to $60. By ignoring this one tiny piece of sacrificial metal, homeowners are pretty much guaranteeing the destruction of a deeply expensive appliance.
To empower you a bit further, here are some incredibly easy, low-cost pro tips that'll cost you less than a tank of gas. First, go buy a $12 pressure gauge from a local hardware store. Attach it to an outside spigot, and just make sure your home's water pressure is sitting under 80 psi. Second, dial your water heater thermostat down from 140 to 120 degrees. This simple move slows down corrosion, saves on your energy bill, and totally eliminates those severe scald risks. Third, double-check that the tank sits in a routed drain pan to safely catch any slow leaks. And finally, just drop a cheap, battery-powered leak alarm on the floor right next to it. You want that thing screaming at 3 a.m. before your beautiful hardwood floors absorb even a single drop of water.
Now, if you're currently staring at a broken unit and you're agonizing over whether to repair or replace it, professionals use a really simple field rule, the 50% rule. Basically, if your tank has passed its 8th birthday and the quote you get to repair it is over half the cost of a brand new unit, you should really just take that money and put it toward a replacement. Honestly, age settles most of these debates. If it's under 8 years old with a top leak, you repair it. If it's over 10 years old or it's leaking from the bottom body, you replace it, no questions asked. Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative thought. If your tank has just been sitting there in the dark, completely untouched for over a decade, you are rolling the dice every single day. A leaking water heater is basically a countdown timer for your home's infrastructure. So is gambling on that forgotten metal cylinder past year 15 really worth sacrificing your floors, your drywall, and risking massive mold damage? Knowing what you know now about the 3 urgent steps for sudden leaks, the unbelievable destruction of a bottom rupture, and the dirt cheap prevention methods at your disposal, it might be time to go check on the appliance that asks for nothing before it costs you everything. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and stay proactive out there.